Hey, I'm Ben from finewoodworking.com, and we're here at Duncan Gowdy's in Holden, Massachusetts. And Duncan is going to show us how he goes about carving these incredible panels on his pieces. And I thought it would be kind of cool to start with how he actually gets the image on the piece.
I have a lot of trees around here, or I just kind of bring my camera wherever I go and then transfer it digitally in the computer. And then I can crop it, change the scale to the size of the wood.
So you're imagining it on a piece before you project it on?
Yeah, correct. I'll probably have the picture, the idea, and then the idea for something will come out of that photograph that I've taken. And then I can crop it really small. Like for a piece in the future, I might only even take this much of this photograph, but for this case, we can do this. So when I was getting ready for this, I was like, oh, that would be neat to have a big panel.
So you've got another idea?
Yeah, so I have,
Nice.
yes. Yep, but 4 feet by 4 feet. So I'm thinking, larger scale, yes. I visually focus on the larger elements. I don't want to get into carving the really fine branches here.
Tiny branches, yeah.
But at this point, I just use my artistic eye and get the composition that I'd like, and what I know the tools I'm using will do it.
So from there, do you just take a pencil?
Yeah, pencils have different lead hardnesses. Our typical number 2 is like right in the middle. So if you go B, that's the softer one. If you go H, that's harder. If you go to like a 9H, that's almost like a drawing with a nail.
Okay.
So I go about an H because I don't want to have it too dark, because the lead can get into the grain of the ash, pores of the ash. And also I'd drawn a little bit and erased it with a white eraser, and all those bits get caught in there. So you're like trying to pick them out or sand them. So now if I have a mistake that I need to get rid of, I'll sand it, and that gets rid of it easier. Okay. So then I can just trace around the image. And I kind of learned this technique in grade school, but using an opaque projector, where it was a big, huge, clanky machine with a lens on it, but it would transfer the image. I think we just put like books on it, and then we could look at trace the images. When I go to carving, the gouges kind of dictate what it's going to look like. The lines might get softened a little more.
It's always changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just another tool, this process for me to get the image on.
So how long does it take for you to transfer the image to the wood?
It might be about 45 minutes for a piece this size.
That's a pretty good amount of time.
But, then it's done. I think the first time I did a carved image, I did a grid system, and then I used tracing paper and rubbed it, and it took a long time.
Yeah.
And then I had a film camera, so I'd use a film camera and then develop with the CD. And I was just spending too much money having film developed, and I bought a digital camera, to make it even, more efficient.
Well, in these days, the projectors are pretty affordable as well.
Yeah, I bought that 8 years ago, maybe, but it just increased what I could do scale-wise over an opaque projector, plus clarity was a lot better because I could get finer detail. I have just 4 foot wide rolls of butcher paper. So if I know what size I'm doing, or if I'm doing a sketch of a piece, I can project it on there, draw it on. I use charcoal if I need wide areas blacked out.
Just to visualize.
Just to visualize it. So
okay.
I'm, just little steps, because I know that the little steps help out, knowing that a piece might take me 200 to 400 hours to make.
You don't want to realize that it's the wrong carving. Correct. 200 hours later.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
pro
tip right
yeah,
there.
Pro tip. It's like, the material cost might seem expensive up front, but then if you keep track of hours, they add up. Yeah. And it's a lot more than material cost.
So you've projected your piece, you've traced it. What's the next step?
Next step is to go over and start carving.
Okay.
So I'm roughing the piece out. I did a tracing the other day.
So right now you're dropping the background out?
Yes, I'm dropping the tree image.
Okay.
So I'm seeing where things are chipping out, so the grain might be going another way, so I want to reverse my direction. But right now I'm just kind of getting out whatever material I want, so I'm not going for the final carving right off the bat. I want to do the rough carving first.
So while you're doing the rough carving, you're also learning the piece of wood.
Yes.
So that when you're doing the real deal, when you're down to the finished area, you know the piece by that point.
Correct. And, you know, I might have a tool roll of 20 gouges, but I might just end up using these 6. Once I know which ones I'm going, I might just leave these out, put the tool roll away to have a clean work surface.
Okay, so carving a piece this size, how long?
60 hours.
That's a lot of patience.
I like just to sit here, have the music on, and carve. If I do a lot of carving, I do have to take a break from it, so that's where the limited production work comes into play, where I'm not carving.
Yeah.
It's just doing more machine work.
So
I can take a break, do some wrist exercises, walk away from it, and come back.
So do you think of yourself as a carver? More than a furniture maker? More than a designer?
I don't feel like I'm a woodworker all the time because I design things that aren't the typical woodworking projects.
Yeah.
But I can do those, you know, I can make doors or kitchen cabinets for our house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just my cumulative experiences that I have that I can't really pinpoint.
Well, that's what makes those pieces Duncan Gowdy, is all of the little elements added together.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for showing us how you do this incredible illustrative work in your carving. It's phenomenal.
You're welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thanks.